This... Wait, Samara Weaving? You know this isn't a good for her horror film, right? What are you doing here?
Tell me you don't miss that.
Okay, I've been praising Samara Weaving for a while. I mean, her comedic timing, her ability to just be so funny while screaming at a loser, her, like, in frustration, so much about just her reactions to things and body language is so goddamn good. She's been crushing it for years in horror and horror comedy films, and she just needed a pure, actual comedy film to showcase her talents. Unfortunately, this is not by any stretch of the imagination a pure comedy film, so this is not that film, but she is amazing in it and just so funny to witness, especially in the kind of first half hour. She's so good at so many things. Unfortunately, even with her absolutely crushing it in this film, it's still not good. Eenie Meanie stars Samara Weaving as Edie, who is forced into being a getaway driver from a young age and gets drawn back into this world that she wants to leave behind by a crime boss played by a legendary actor. And it has a surprisingly good cast and blends action comedy and has quite a lot of like big musical numbers in the background. So what, just because like half the cast of Baby Driver got cancelled, it means we can just copy it now? No, this is wrong. It is a heist kind of thriller film, and it was marketed as that when it should have been marketed as a much more comedic film, because it actually is for certain parts of it, but it drifts around between genres so quickly that honestly, I can see why they just failed to market it at all, and it just kind of went, and it was suddenly there on Hulu and Disney+. The guy just stepping out of the car and getting splattered, and Edie just sitting there seething with rage, covered in blood. So I mean, at least, even though this isn't a Samara Weaving horror comedy, she is covered in blood. That is her real trademark. I don't think I've ever seen a film where she's not just covered in blood. Anyway, and then she just kind of goes like, nope, just drive. Like, the comedy of that is so good. It got me really hard when that happened. I was laughing my ass off. And a lot about that kind of major sequence in the first act, it just made me giggle. It was just good. Unfortunately, the rest of the film's not really like that as much. It really veers away from the more comedic, lighthearted elements as it goes on and gets just surprisingly dark in unsatisfying ways. And my biggest problem with it is that the entire plot of the film resides upon the fact that she's getting drawn back into this world to help her loser ex-boyfriend, who's just an asshole. Like, you hear that and you go, really? From the get-go. And it did not let up, did not make me feel any better after I started watching it. Carl Glusman is playing this asshole. And despite them trying to, like, portray him as more of this, like, kind of funny, silly, goofy asshole than, like, asshole, he is just asshole. And she just, the entire film, I'm just screaming, get out of there to her. Like, why are you doing this for him? You were out of this life. It's annoying. It's very frustrating. And there is the subplot as well about her wanting to get back into her dad's life and really have a relationship with him again, despite him having tried to sell her when she was a child. Yeah, this is a film with a lot of fun elements, but it feels like the strong actors and fun style and jokes are all trying to save it from itself because the plot and the writing and even some of the characters just suck and are so frustrating. It basically picks up elements of like Fast and Furious, the earlier films, and The Italian Job, and tries to shove them into Baby Driver. And what you get is this very, well, like basic streaming slop version of a heist film. And to pretend that any of that, or the entire genre of heist films, basically, should exist in 2025 is just kind of nuts at this point. It's just gone, and it feels like a relic of a bygone era. And it belongs in a different time, the entire genre. It's like trying to make a Western movie nowadays. It just doesn't quite work anymore, does it? No. And despite the fact that I really love this character, and I really think Samara Weaving is great at playing her, the film overall is just too frustrating and basic and apologetic to terrible men for me to actually like it. It doesn't surprise me that heist movies have reached streaming material, and frankly, I don't even mind that because so much of streaming slop is in the same kind of genres that I'm okay with that. I'm okay with getting a kind of like whatever heist film. But the problem is, in a heist film, what have you got? You've got like the big moments, big twists. No, they don't have that really. You've got excellent driving sequences. She's a getaway driver, that's the point. You've got excellent driving. No, not really. You've got... that's all heist films have, yeah. So, without especially good writing or good sequences with the car and action, you don't have any advantage to making this heist film. And her character, you could do other things with that character and with Samara Weaving playing her, so I don't feel like it needed to be a heist film. And the fact that it is just frustrating and silly. And everything else about this, the subplots, which become the main plots as it goes on, and the way it just falls apart, because the first act really did draw me in. I thought this was going to be a really surprisingly good film. And then the second act was kind of acceptable, and the third act was just, the directions it decides to go and the things it decides to focus on are just frustrating, insufferable to me. So I'm giving, and that's the big black tits of John, 2.5 stars. There's no way you're going to get any... Yeah, you're not going to understand the context of that if you haven't seen the film, but the big black tits thing is just... There's a whole scene about it. It's a whole thing. Yeah, you just got to trust me on that one. And that was just another really amusing, interesting early scene that made me feel like it was going to work, and it didn't.